My name is Joel Heath. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm the executive director of a charity called the Arctic Eider Society that we started in Sanakilowak. So I'm going to talk about the last 15 years in about 7 minutes. I got started up in Nunatsiavut and fell in love with the North and somehow decided it would be a great idea to go to Hudson Bay in the middle of the winter and to live in the Arctic. And my goal there was to study eider ducks, which the community of Sanakilowak had contacted Environment Canada because there was massive die-offs of the birds trapped in the ice. And so I was up there to try and study their ecology. So I was there to do my PhD, and academics are a bit of a brutish bunch at times. Basically, they said, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to get your PhD, you have to go up to the Arctic, you have to sit in this box all winter and think of something smart to say. So that's what I did. I sat in the box and I was watching the ducks. I was filming them diving underneath the ice, watching the currents. And thankfully, I made some really good buddies with Elijah and Simeone, and they checked in on me to make sure I wasn't freezing. And there I sat. And basically, my task was to sit in this box all winter and learn how to think outside the box. So I think I did a pretty good job of that. It was a bit grueling, but I finally got out of the box. They let me out of the box. They gave me a PhD, and so I was really excited about that. And then I'm talking to my buddies on the ice, and they're like, that's great. You've learned a lot, and but PhDs don't mean much. You're still kindergarten in Inuit knowledge. And so I was like, okay. And that kind of started a transformation in terms of where I was going with my whole career and led to a lot of really exciting things. And as a result of that, somehow I ended up doing simultaneously a postdoc in the math department at UBC while living in Sanakilowak for 6 months and making our award-winning film People of a Feather, which describes the culture of the Inuit who had no caribou. They used the eiders for their clothing and food, and basically helped open up the door for our charity. If you haven't seen it, you really should. It really goes into a lot of what life is like up in the north. The eider down being the warmest feather in the world, the technology that allowed surviving the Arctic in the middle of the winter. And that became the symbol for the charity that we created as a legacy to the film and to international polar projects, the Arctic Eider Society. We do a lot more than ducks. We've since started a community-driven research network in Sanakilowak, Inukjuak, Umirak, Kujarapik, Wamastu, and Shisasabi, each community having different pieces of the puzzle to look at big-scale picture about what's been happening in Hudson Bay, and with a wide variety of different partners there. By doing community-driven research, we mean that instead of we might be paying people to help and go out on the land and use their skills to study the environment, but we still consider it's us working for the community rather than the other way around. And so through consultation, they guide the programs that we're working on. We also partner up youth with experienced hunters out on the land. This is Daniel from People of a Feather, and he went on after the film to go to the Nunavut Arctic College, graduate as Student of the Year, and become the first Inuit wildlife officer in his community. And so this is kind of the tangible results that we have inspired us and keep us going every day to make these things happen. And so with all the multimedia interactive approaches we have also been working on the Arctic Sea Ice Educational Package. We're working with the Kativik School Board to bring this directly into classrooms all across Nunavik, teaching culturally relevant curriculum for math and science to keep kids in school, inspire them to be the next generation of environmental leaders and researchers, partner up with the hunters, and follow up through the work that we do on the land with hunters. So we're really good at the grassroots kind of work, and what we do is really based in the communities and comes from there. But one of the biggest challenges for Hudson Bay is the governance stewardship issues. And so it falls across a whole bunch of different jurisdictions. Hudson Bay always seems to fall through the cracks. If you look in the east side, it's actually the most complex region of jurisdictional overlap in the Arctic. We have this crazy Venn diagram of Nunavut, Nunavik, and the EU Marine Region Land Claim Agreements, their overlap agreements, and then you overlay on top of that the provincial jurisdictions and the federal jurisdictions. If you go from Sanakilowak to Nunavik, you change both DFO and Environment Canada jurisdictions, the offices. And so we've been working with a whole bunch of stakeholders from across the Bay to form a Hudson Bay Consortium. And the idea is, there's a lot of shared environmental issues that affect people all around the Bay, and we want to work together to coordinate research, coordinate environmental stewardship for the region. And so we've been starting to work on that, and we are really excited about a meeting coming up this November to really catalyze that sort of governance and environmental stewardship. And that kind of came out of a Fulbright Chair in Arctic Studies. So that's kind of the bigger level governance stuff that we've been working on. So we do a whole bunch of different things. This is kind of our strategy that came out of International Polar Year that we've been implementing for the last 5 years. Basically, how do we connect all these programs together? And there's a number of different things that we do there, but I want to showcase tonight an interactive mapping platform that we've created that kind of helps connect the communities together and build this grassroots and governance stuff. So basically, this is a mapping platform that we've created. There's Landsat and MODIS imagery. There's a whole bunch of tools that the hunters are using in the different communities. And you can see this is a salinity profiler. Charlie and Samson just deployed that out near Kujarapik and detected a layer of fresh water under the ice 28 meters thick. And so they can see the results they've contributed near real time, tagged on their profiles, provide photos and provide comments. There's profiles for the communities. You can see each of the hunters in the different communities that help us out all have their own profile, and they're all linked to all the different work. And so you can see what the hunters in the other communities are doing as well. This is Inuk Jonasi. He was really busy. The communities have profiles where we can bring together a bunch of services. And in this case, we actually brought Google Street View into Santa Kilowak. You can see we went into the school museum and we went out to the school igloo they make every year that was in People of a Feather. So bringing together a bunch of content. We also have traditional location profiles with traditional place names. This is Alutsatuk Plinia, where it all got started. We did the first ever Google Street View of remote sea ice habitats, which if you read our Walrus article, you'll know about. We also have profiles for wildlife species that you can explore through an interactive food web with trophic interactions linked to the educational programs. You can see the research that's done on that species and watch video like the eiders diving underneath the ice that started it all for us. We're particularly proud about, we've been implementing profiles for different types of sea ice using Inuktitut terminology so that people can share their knowledge about environmental observations using their own knowledge system. They can be explored through this interface of an icescape. Each of the profiles have the dialects in Inuktitut cross-referenced among them and different content linked to them and research. And so trying to bring these, and of course, like Facebook or anything, you can tag photos with the different wildlife species and people and wildlife types and things as well. So this is kind of basically what the proof of concept that we've had based in the programs across Hudson Bay for the last few years. And so the next stage of that, we have been inspired by the communities to take this to the next level and basically try and create the first social media network for the North. This is top secret, don't tell anyone about it. But the idea is, people really want to contribute their stories, and we want to give them the tools to do that in a culturally relevant context, to do participatory mapping and share their stories without assigning all the intellectual property rights to Facebook, to manage who they share that information with, contribute to providing services for sea ice imagery, for marine forecasts that are related to safety, for environmental stewardship, and to help bring this all together. So that's what we're working on now. We're just getting this project up and going. We're working with Nunavut Siviniksivut as our ambassadors for the project to be the ones that really help develop the interfaces and be the champions for this across the North. And so we do a lot more than ducks, but we're the Arctic Eider Society, and we hope you join us on the journey. Thank you for having me.